Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast with Borg, Betz, and a baller.
Welcome back. We're into week 2 here. Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Borganoni, and I'm joined by Matthew Betz and Jason Moore.
Week 1 in the books. I'm ready to react to everything and nothing at the same time.
Oh, it's going to be all overreactions, baby. No, I mean, that's the point of this specific episode is this is the overreactions episode, and it's maybe what we should overreact to, what we should underreact to, and we're going to leave it all a mystery until we each bring our own thing that there's so many huge reactions this week, right? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe blank. And then the question is, well, should you not believe it? Or is this like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it?
That is a huge part of, just analyzing every single game and then saying, what should I just not do anything about? Like, because everybody wants to respond in some type of way, I might myself included, to say, how can I fix this problem? Or I did not think this was going to be an issue for my team. This player, this position, especially on a dynasty squad, you're like, oh, I've got this locked up for a couple of years. I have some squads that are wide receiver heavy, and I thought, man, I'm about to ball. I have Nico Collins. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's really good. And, I've got a couple other players on that roster that I was just like, man, I'm just so set. I was like looking at the rest of the league, just thinking like, there's no chance anybody can go up against me.
And?
It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
When you have a stud and they don't perform.
Yeah, A.J. Brown was
Who?
real helpful for me this week. The thing is, though, if you look back, we say this all the time, but it's really hard to remember, and it's really hard to take the context of week 1 out of it. Every single wide receiver, every single year, with the sole exception of usually a max of 2, have bad games. They have down games. They have complete disappearing acts. All the greats. They just have a game where they're not involved. Either they were unnecessary or other players got involved or for whatever reason. The best of the best, the guy who finished at wide receiver 5, 6, 7, 8, they all have bad games in there. But when it happens to be on week 1, you think that's the new normal. And it's really scary. And I get it, especially with the older guys, right? Like Tyreek Hill. If you want to be concerned with Tyreek Hill, who already looked maybe questionable last year, and then you come out with a really bad week 1, okay, this appears it could be the new normal. But someone like A.J. Brown, he's going to have he always has a handful of bad games because he plays for a team that doesn't necessarily always need him. But when it happens in week 1, it's like, oh, no. This team sucks. The coordinator changed and everything's good. They're not passing to wide receivers anymore. Did you see the wide receiver target percentage? That's what this coordinator has, that percentage 100% of his games now. It's like, come on, man. Stop.
Yeah, I do think that kind of last point on just not zooming in so much on what happened week 1 is so important because, just 10, 12 days ago, we were drafting redraft teams and you had takes and ideas and thoughts about teams and players. You shouldn't throw them out the window after 1 week. We obviously want to take in this data and react to some of it, but you need to zoom out, I think, a little bit on certain things and teams and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely don't overreact week 1. Although I will say the vibes in Miami with Tyreek Hill and that core is not great. Not great.
Guys, they barely even had the ball. I was looking at this number earlier. Like the Colts ran 43 total plays in the first half. Miami ran 46 for the entire game. It's like they never had the ball, and when they did have the ball, it didn't matter. And like
watching the first 3 quarters of that game was like, it was, okay, the Dolphins got the ball. Let's see what they can do. Tua gave it to the Colts. All right, let's wait a while. And then the Colts took plenty of time. Wasn't like they were, just having single plays that ended a drive, and then finally the Dolphins would get the ball back. It's like, all right, okay, let's see what the Dolphins can do. And Tua goes, here, Colts, take this. I mean, Tua was hot trash.
Wasn't great.
The Dolphins are a litmus test, not only for like their team, but also like the Colts, who we'll talk about later, of like, wait, so how good are the Colts? Because they play the Dolphins. Will the Dolphins be one of those teams who will look back and say, hey, early on, teams got to play them, and we didn't know how bad it was going to be. They have the Patriots this week. Hopefully that's great for Drake May. But yeah, there's so many different things that you can look at on either sides of the coin with some of these matchups. I do want to draw to your attention the ultimate dashboard. If you are trying to set a lineup, there is nothing easier if you are a Foot Clan member than every single week, instead of individually going in on my apps for every single team, for all my waiver wire stuff and everything else, I can go, okay, I actually have a tool in front of me that figures out our projections, figures out what I'm missing. This past week, I was about to start an out player because I was in a league and I didn't know. And guess what? The lineup optimizer actually showed me that. And for waivers, especially in redraft, like this is a perfect time. So make sure you check out the ultimate dashboard. If you want to be a Foot Clan member, jointhefoot.com. But every week on the Dynasty podcast, we do this in season, a little different than off season. We look at a couple players and look at their film. So we're going to jump right in.
Weekly Rewind.
This is just boys talking ball here.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of dudes who rewatched some games. I rewatched the Falcons game just because I'm not bringing it up here.
You love pain.
I just wanted it. I wanted to just bring it up again and again and then go, man, who are we running out there? Casey Washington? Like,
you rewatched the Falcons game as a Falcons fan. I mean, why not just go back and watch that Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl again? I mean, just have yourself a good old time.
See, that already lives rent-free. That's already there. That's already playing all the time. But every week, we rewatch a few games, and we want to give you some film takes on players from a dynasty perspective, what we saw, and some takeaways. So, Betz, I'll let you start us off.
Yeah, let's talk about the game that just happened on Monday night between the Bears and the Vikings. And it was one of those games for J.J. McCarthy that confirmed your prior no matter what your prior was. If you were not a believer in J.J. McCarthy, the first half, you're like, there it is. Told you guys. And if you are a J.J. McCarthy believer, which I am, in the second half, it was like, okay, there he is. Like, that's what he can do. So I still don't obviously know after one game of his NFL career where the truth is, and nobody really does. But I think if you look at kind of what happened in the first half compared to the second, you did see flashes of why they're so high on him, why they let Sam Darnold go. And it was really interesting to see kind of how he battled through that and how the team battled through that. Obviously, the Bears collapsed in primetime, and, you know, it's unfortunately if you're a Bears fan, but that's what they did. And J.J. McCarthy took advantage. With some of the throws that he had in the second half, the pick six obviously was egregious. After that, a lot of what you saw at Michigan, where he can hit those crossers with timing and really good arm strength, throw the ball to the boundary with good arm strength. And then what I was really encouraged about what could grow for this season for fantasy is the mobility. And you saw that design rush attempt to win the game there at the end in the fourth quarter. So obviously, very, very up and down start to his career. I thought in the first half, I don't know why they were like having him snap the ball, or I don't know if it was his fault, but they were snapping the ball with like 1 second or as the play clock was expiring. And like for a first...
Or after.
Yeah, honestly. For a first career start, like that obviously speeds up the internal clock. It's all, you know, you're flustered at the line of scrimmage. I thought if they played with like more tempo and kind of got going a little bit, he would settle in. But like I said, obviously a little bit up and down. But I think it's one of those, it is so funny in football, right? Where things can flip out of nowhere. And it looked like they were never going to come back from where they were. Obviously a very strong third and fourth quarter. So excited to see what McCarthy and the Vikings offense can do. They were without left tackle Christian Darrisaw. He's one of the best in the game. So they'll get him back. They get Jordan Addison in a couple of weeks. I think that'll help a lot.
The mobility is great, man. Like, even he had another rush attempt where he got tripped up, where he could have gotten free. But I mean, if he can add 20, 25 yards a game, and just to give you a baseline, they never had the ball in the first half, 19 total plays, and they were dead last in pass rate on first downs. That is one of the things I noticed with young quarterbacks. That was a theme for a guy that I'll talk about in a second, but teams didn't really trust these guys to throw it on first down, which is how you keep defenses on their toes. And then eventually in the second half, you saw a couple of absolute rips. Like one of those was to Jefferson outside the hash, like 20, 30 yards downfield. It was like, that is a big boy throw. And we liked that from his film at Michigan. So yeah, I agree with you. Like if you held your priors, and we were pretty pro JJ McCarthy of just saying, hey, stay with what we saw at Michigan. This was a good ending and a good fantasy ending to that as well. Jason, who you got?
I wanted to go back. I mean, I watched a bunch of film, but I think one for a Dynasty show that is worth bringing up after week one that was disappointing would be rookie wide receiver that a lot of us are very excited about, and that player is Jayden Higgins. Jayden Higgins had a very disappointing. I mean, I don't know that it was outright disappointing. He led the team in receiving yards, right?
Awesome.
But he wasn't on the field as much as you want. He did not start week one as the clear, it was Nico and Jayden Higgins, and then figure out who else is there, especially with the Christian Kirk injury. We had hoped and desired that would happen. And so he played 43% of the snaps. Pretty disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing offensive output for the Texans as a whole without Joe Mixon. So I wanted to go and just be like, okay, I don't want the numbers to dictate what my opinion is here. Let me go watch every snap that he's on the field, every route. It was much easier because, 43% of snaps. It didn't take too much work. I came away happy and impressed. The other guys that he's working behind, superstar Justin Watson, Xavier Hutchinson, like these guys are not as good as him. And I don't believe they even looked nearly as good as him in that game. Higgins had great routes, had some good hands. He did have one of the targets that turned into an interception that it was not his fault. You can blame him for not wrestling hard enough, but he got open. He was targeted on a lot of the routes where he was on the field. He was looked to. He created separation. Everything that I saw film-wise, this is just a film study. We're coming into the Dynasty show where we go, okay, we're going to take a closer look. I was impressed. So in redraft leagues, he is a very, very common cut candidate. Like, oh, should I cut him? And personally, I'm not doing that. It is not uncommon. Obviously, we're so used to now, like, there is the Marvin Harrison, the Malik Neighbors, the Brian Thomas Jr., the guys that are drafted and are the week one starters from minute one. They are the number one target on their offense from the wide receiver position from minute one, yada, yada. But there are also great wide receivers who, Justin Jefferson, the first 2 weeks he was playing behind, I can never remember. It wasn't Olamide. Kyle's smiling. He knows the name.
Knows.
Who was he playing behind?
Johnson.
Olabisi Johnson. That's who. Yeah, good BC Johnson. He was behind him. And that is exactly what it feels like. And please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying, he's going to be Justin Jefferson. My point is, if Justin Jefferson as a rookie, who was awesome as a rookie, was behind Olabisi Johnson for a couple of weeks to figure it out, to acclimate to the NFL. When I watched the film, he was clearly their second best wide receiver. He wasn't on the field that much. He did lead the team in receiving without being on the field much. So the talent is there. I'm happy. I'm not happy with the fantasy production. I'm happy with the film.
Yeah, it was obviously a very frustrating day for Houston offensively. They couldn't really do anything. And, entering the season, a lot of the talk in terms of how could this go wrong was on the offensive line, and you saw that, especially against a good Rams pass rush. I think they lost their center in this game as well, which doesn't help when your offense is already, bottom third in the league in terms of offensive line play. So I feel like for him and for Nico and for all these guys to kind of hit these bigger plays, you think about like the boundary wide receivers that run these kind of crossing routes and stuff like that. You need time for it to develop. You also need, I think, an innovative scheme to like get those things going. Nick Haley's first game with Houston, this is per a good friend of the show, Rich Rebar. They were 24th in motion rate. They were 27th in play action rate. Okay, it's not great. Like, you want to see these new play callers come in and install different things that help your quarterback, and especially help a quarterback that struggled under pressure last year. So I was pretty disappointed with Nick Haley's debut offensively. Let's hope that gets better moving forward. Obviously, one game you don't want to freak out, but I'll be watching that closely with Houston to see if they bring back some of that motion and play action.
Sean McVay just spanked him. His former employee just said, "Hey, no, this ain't gonna work. You're not gonna come over here and run my stuff."
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He didn't run his stuff. I don't know. I mean, that part, I agree with you, Betz. He was like, I was not inspired. But I also was really disappointed in C.J. Stroud and how he dealt with the pressure. He kept trying to run away from it, which really just ran into it, but just further back as a deeper sack. It's like, step up into the pocket, man. Do what you did your rookie year.
You can't win if you are targeting Dameon Pierce and Agumba Wale as this is a major part of our offense. I looked at Cam Ward, who has
this is interesting. I have not rewatched that film. So for the first time on this show in we're year and a half, I'm going to listen to you, Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have a lot of thoughts here. I mean, I could go in a lot of directions since I have Jason's attention. I mean, I was just thinking, right. I bring up something really deep and political, and Jason's like, whoa.
Yeah. You have my attention.
There's been a lot of opinions, though, online about Cam Ward's first game, and really it's kind of gone down to two things. Was he good, or should we just blame the coaching, blame the drops, all that stuff? I kind of want to find a middle ground, because that's kind of my thing, is like, what was he good at? And you could see the arm talent. There are some throws that are creative. There's some sidearm stuff. He was 11 of 13 on throws under 10 air yards. That's cool, right? He was 1 of 12 on passes over 10 yards. The number one thing I say, and I think I've said it every single episode we've ever talked about quarterbacks in the Dynasty podcast, can you throw to the intermediate area of the field? And if you can do that, you could be super successful in the NFL. Denver just sat back in zone, and they says, I don't think you can do it. They ran zone 91% of the time, which was the second highest rate in the league. It was just like, I dare you. I dare you to do this. They didn't trust him on first down. He had 0 scrambles and 0 total rush attempts. That's the thing that I want to bring to the table about fantasy. Because if you can't run the ball, then what I'm going to ask is that going to matter other than you having these fluky 300-yard games that happen every once in a while? If you're not running 2 to 3 times a game, then that's not going to translate for fantasy. And the stat that we brought up before in our scouting is every single first-round quarterback who saw less than 10% of their team's rushing yards in college never ended up rushing for more than 400 yards in the pros. Most of them end up at 150, maybe 200 yards. And he did a lot of the same things that Caleb did, dancing around the pocket, took a ton of sacks. I'm just wondering if he doesn't end up running the ball, which it took a while for us to get that with Bryce. Remember, Bryce, we saw at the end of the year, he started running. Is this going to matter? Now, the defense that he saw, he was pressured a ton. He was pressured on half of his drop back. So, of course, I'm not going to use the Denver tape to say whether Cam Ward is good or not. But for fantasy, I want to ask you the question, is he ever going to turn into a guy who runs enough that can be a top 6 quarterback?
So I don't ever trust my memory, but I swear I remember Cam Ward with a scramble or a good run.
I don't have him down.
Did anything get called back?
He might have got called back. In the stat sheet, it's not there.
Gotcha.
In any of them there. And then he has no rush attempts in our system either. And the couple times where it was open, he would just check it down, which was fine. But a couple times he could have run, he didn't run. It was Denver. So, but will he run enough to be a top 6 quarterback? I know that's after one game.
Oh, no, not a top 6. I mean, because I don't think you can combine that with the passing. The passing volume, even if he is actually really good, despite the 1 for 12, down the field, let's say that was the fluke, let's say that was the Denver Broncos, he doesn't have the weapons to be able to be a top 6 running back his rookie year, or top 6 quarterback his rookie year. And he's not, even if he runs enough, which if I had to bet whether he runs, for over 200 yards on the reg, I would definitely bet that he does per season. But that isn't, that's not what did Bo Nix run for last year? Over 500, over 550. I mean, he was significantly more, and so he's not that type of player. He's not coming in like a Jaden Daniels where you're thinking this is a pure dual threat. So that's interesting. Interesting to know.
Yeah, and even his final year at Miami, he'd have opportunities to scramble, but he would just kind of drift and kind of let, and in college that works, drift and let the play keep going, and then try to throw a ball down the field and really look for those big plays. And I think it'll take time for him to kind of work out of that in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, these guys that don't scramble much in college, they don't really generally scramble too much in the pros. So yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised basically.
Denver, I mean, he completed 3 passes on first down for 13 yards. Denver could just sit back and be like, you're not going to throw the ball. It's not going to matter. But the arm talent, like the cool throws are there. Dan Orlovsky today said he was wildly impressed by Cam Ward. From an arm talent perspective, I get that. From the game that we play, I think there's a long way to go for somebody. You know, he has a different matchup this next week. Denver is going to be that on every single quarterback. I don't care who it is. So I don't want us to put all the eggs in that basket. But
do you want to know who he reminded me of so much that week? Because I'm remembering the game closer and closer now. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, the game plan with Cam Ward seemed so similar to Bo Nix the beginning of last year. Bo Nix, the beginning of last year, was just like this, if you remember. Like, I pulled up his game log from last year. 42 pass attempts week 1, completed 62% of them for 3.3 yards an attempt. 3.3. It was all screens. It was all just like gimmicky gadget, get the ball out, try to manufacture stuff, really protect Bo Nix as a first game rookie. And I had that thought live, which is like, I do think they're going to open up this offense as the season goes along. It was very restricted, though, during this game, and hard defense to face.
Watching the game with Bo Nix being in that exact game too, this week, there's a lot of things that were red flags to me from how Bo played, because Bo was just all short. I think it was like 77% of his passes were 10 yards and in, and then he was wildly inefficient in the intermediate area as well. I just bring that up because the quarterbacks we're going to bring up later just absolutely slayed 10, 15 yards down the field. The 20 stuff is going to be hit or miss. If you hit the deep ball, that's game to game. But if you keep hitting 10 to 15 yards, those are the things that move the chains. And obviously the Titans couldn't do that. Let's take a quick break and then we'll just hopefully not lose our minds overreacting. I was reminded a couple of years ago, a week 1 overreaction that I didn't take in Dynasty. Do you guys remember the year that Sammy Watkins in week 1 just went off for like 3 touchdowns?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Lizard King himself.
It was awesome. And I always loved Sammy. And I think you did too, Jason, right?
I did early on, yeah. And
so I didn't trade him away because I wanted to hold on. I was like, I need a wide receiver 1. This is Patrick Mahomes' wide receiver 1. And I regretted it. So underreact, overreact, we'll talk about it.
I'm not going to do what you all think I'm going to do, which is just flip out.
All right. We're going to bring a couple of different situations to the table, and we have not revealed to each other how we are feeling or what way we are leaning. So I'm going to let Betz start first because I see what you have here in the doc, and I have some conviction, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, it's a shame Mike isn't here because we are talking about Ken Walker and the Seattle Seahawks backfield. Just for context on what the split looked like, it was pretty much 50-50. Now, Charbonnet led in snaps 58% to Ken Walker's 40%. They split the carries with Charbonnet at 12, Walker at 10, and then Walker had 3 targets, no looks in the pass game for Charbonnet. So pretty much a 50-50 split between these two in terms of usage. Charbonnet did have 3 carries inside the 10, Walker had 1. So if you were super bullish on Ken Walker's outlook entering the season, obviously this does not feel great. If you were super bullish on Zach Charbonnet's potential in this offense, this looks fantastic. Now we need to try to figure out how real is this, and if this was just a function of the foot issue that had plagued Ken Walker in training camp. Remember the plan, right? Couple days on, couple days off, in and out of the lineup the whole time. Or is this just what they want? And is it possible, and we talked about that on the Bold Predictions episode, that Charbonnet eventually kind of takes control? He led all running backs in week 1 in rush success rate. Meanwhile, Ken Walker was dead last in rushing yards over expected per attempt. So when you're looking at kind of best case scenario for Charbonnet, it happened. Worst case for Ken Walker, it happened.
Second to worst case. Worst case is just getting injured.
Well, that's true.
But
10 carries for 20 yards also
that's
not
status
great.
quo for Ken, though. Status quo.
Not great. I don't think we'll know the answer on like if this is what they actually want or if it's like foot management related until we get, I don't know, maybe 2 more games of a sample size to kind of really see what's going on here. But personally, for me, I think this is what is going to happen. I think Zach Charbonnet has proven himself in the NFL. Obviously, different coaching regimes in the past, but he was with McDonald last year. This new scheme seems to fit him very, very well. I think there's a chance this is what's going to happen moving forward. So it does kind of feel like a call your shot moment on this backfield. If you think this is wrong and they change it moving forward and it is Ken Walker's, it's kind of an interesting buy low in Dynasty. If you don't believe that, I'd be looking for some opportunities potentially to get out.
Wait. You're here. Your job right now is to tell us how to think. So don't be like, well, if you think this, do that. If you think that, do this. What do you think, Betz?
I mean, you were on the bold prediction show with us.
Yeah, so you're on the Charbonnet side.
I said Charbonnet will be drafted. I think the exact thing was 3 rounds higher than Ken Walker and startup ADP next year because he takes over the backfield. Admittedly, that's a very bold take, but I think Charbonnet is here to stay. It is a bold take,
but it looked like it happened already week 1.
I think Charbonnet's here to stay.
I do believe
that's my take.
I look at the scheme change, the style of play change, the things the coaches said that kind of alluded to this possibility, and then most importantly, the thing that they did on the field. Now, yeah, maybe it is the foot, maybe it is the injury, maybe it's like the bringing them along slowly, but also why? Why would they feel the need to be like, well, we need to force the ball to Ken Walker way more than we're doing? I know they lost the game, but that was a very, very close game. I mean, they were in that game. They were up. They were down. They were up. Looked like they were going to win, and then it was kind of a last-second loss. This was not a game plan that didn't work for them. This is a game plan that worked very well for them, and they just lost to the Niners.
Someone is going to bring up Zach Charbonnet's actual line, which was 12 rushes for 47 yards, 3.9 a carry. His longest carry was for 7 yards. If you look at just those stats, you'd be like, he sucked as a runner. What if I told you that he had the highest rush success rate of any running back in football, meaning what they needed on the down, he got. Not much more, but better than any other running back in the first week of football. So the tough, hard-nosed, let's play with a bunch of tight ends. They used rookie Robbie Oots, which rhymes with Poots, as a fullback. A lot of the game where it was like, what is this dude doing in here? I just think they trust Charbonnet a little bit more. And last year, remember, McDonald's main thing was I hate that we're turning the ball over. See you, Ryan Grubb. So if this is how they want to win, which is defense, and their defense looked great, by the way. The defense played well enough, except for the one play for Jake Thompson.
Breaking news.
Oh, baby.
Oh, no.
Sorry to cut you off there, but it looks like Eagles player Betz Jalen Carter has been suspended.
He should be.
Eat it.
He should be.
He is suspended 1 game for his active unsportsmanlike conduct.
How can you guys teach him that kind of stuff in Philly? That's what I don't understand.
We got some dogs, baby.
Yeah, you got some Rottweilers everywhere.
I was so mad. Sitting down, excited to watch the kickoff game. You idiot. And yeah, I know Dak kind of, taunted him into it, whatever. You just can't do that. Did you see in college, the Florida kid did that too?
No.
In a college football game, yeah. Ref literally standing right next to him. I mean, nobody should ever spit on people. Come on, we're humans.
I agree,
did it in
but
college.
that feels insane to me. I was a little surprised they kicked him out of the game instead of just throwing a 15-yard flag for spitting. We saw in other games where it's people open hand punched people,
right?
Open. I mean, it was an open hand, so it's fine. You can slap a guy in the helmet, no problem. Spitting is rude. It's offensive. There's no reason for it, no place. But also, it didn't hurt the dude. You're all going to be sweating blood and nasty bodily fluids exchanging everywhere. So it's okay, grow up, go sit on the bench. I was surprised they kicked him out of the game for that. But then, not only did he miss the whole game, they're going to suspend him a whole nother one. And Kyle, you said good. They should. Is this because you're a father of young children and you want the example made?
I just think the Eagles are now the villains. So
sure, yeah. I'm happy that I am always happy when defensive stars are not playing.
I mean,
I'm a fantasy guy.
Their defense made Javonte look pretty good on Thursday night. We'll see what happens in Kansas City.
Eagles playing this week again.
Chiefs.
Oh, that's
in Kansas City.
Dude, the league wants the Chiefs to win. They can't have the Chiefs start 0-2, so they got to put Carter, get him out of there. No, you've seen this already with some of these calls.
So that's totally what's happening.
Oh my gosh,
we were looking at the schedule earlier, and we were like, oh my gosh, the Chiefs are going to start 0-2, and we're like, that's crazy. I was like, it's in Arrowhead, and obviously it's the Chiefs, but they're short-handed. No Rushy Rice.
Yep.
Probably no Xavier Worthy. Oh, man. And then the Eagles are going to be at full strength. And I picked the Eagles in that game. This was before this news. And then we were all pretty much celebrating. Kansas City, you all got to know you're the bad guys now when you got the legacy. We were all like, oh, my gosh, that's so cool. Kansas City could really and probably will start 0-2. And the NFL comes in and says, hold your horses.
Dude, the league they're trying to make examples out of people, and they're calling a lot of like ticky-tack stuff. Like if you stand over a guy or you like have a big hit and you stand just for a second, they're throwing the flag. So they're trying to get that stuff out of the game. But
I didn't hear that spitting was a point of emphasis, though. I didn't hear that this year.
Big thing at the league meetings. All right, guys.
That will be a talking point though. This next year, like they'll bring in somebody to give a lecture to every single squad.
The tush push and spitting. Get that out of the game.
At least like do some type of cool wrestling move to get kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
Like a diamond cutter or something.
Right.
Genuinely, if you're going to get kicked out of the game and suspended the next game, you're telling me you don't think a good throat chop to Dak would have been better? You know what I mean? Like one of them right up under the jugular with your hand open. Wah! He's like, all right, throw me out, suspend me next game. Spit.
Little eye gouge, It
didn't even get him. He was on his jersey that's like 12 layers from him. He just spit in his face. And I love Dak. I think this is ridiculous. But anyways, all right.
Go Birds.
Here's my final point on Ken Walker, because he's going to get targeted more. He's going to be moving forward. If you want to trade him after that, do that. But Ken Walker moving forward, I was more of like, hey, Mike, I support you as your friend, and I'll research it for the show. But I've always been a little scared, Ken Walker, especially in Dynasty, because we got to this point of the contract year. He didn't get it. And could he get a contract after this? Maybe. But the 50-50 split, I think is going to be a thing. And he's going to have really good games, but wait till that game and then trade him.
You want to know what? Oh, yeah, go.
Wow.
Jalen Carter's suspension, people are going to think that we're idiots because they're listening to this after the fact, is technically served in game 1. He is forfeiting his game check, and he is eligible to play in week 2. Go Eagles. Eagles money line is a lock.
Okay. Look, when we're recording this the day early, this was breaking. This was coming out just now. All it said, the first breaking news report that I saw was just Jalen Carter has been suspended 1 game. So I apologize. Also, here's what really happened, just so that the Foot Clan knows. Look, we love the NFL. We work closely with the NFL. Those guys been in the studio.
They pay our bills a little bit.
Obviously, they have planted some bugs. And they heard us talking some crap about the NFL, like, oh, they're weak. They're trying to give the Chiefs a win. They're like, oh, guys, we got to let that suspension play out in week 1. Okay, good. That's what just happened. We saved your Eagles.
Thank you,
Betsy.
Good work, everybody. Jason, what do we need to react or not overreact to?
Yeah. Last thing I will say before we talk about that, with regards to Ken Walker, my worry from week 1 is that Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet will both be terrible for fantasy, because if it stays a 50-50 split, or if it even stays where Zach Charbonnet is the more utilized player, the more on the field player, then I don't think he is special enough without the entire workload to be a fantasy weekly start. So he's out, and then Ken Walker, if he's getting half the work, he would be maybe a flex play for a big broken play. He can take one to the house, but he's going to be very inconsistent. So if it really does stay how it was week 1, I think it just completely destroys that backfield. All right, my big overreaction, and this is, I'm going to just say what it is right off the bat, it's Detroit's offense. Okay, this is a big storyline from week 1. Ben Johnson is gone. You lose your center. And the questions were, going from the number one offense last year, will it hurt them? Will they look the same? And the answer on the field was it very much hurt them, and they don't look the same at all. I came in this offseason constantly being pretty negative about Detroit being able to repeat their offensive output. I have said many, many times I fully expect them to regress several touchdowns. We've talked about it. Like when you score the amount of touchdowns they scored last year, what is it, Betz? You probably remember. It's something like a dozen touchdowns fewer the following season on average. It's significant. And I do believe that is going to happen to them this season. But my big take on how to react and whether you overreact or underreact here is I think people are going to overreact that Ben Johnson's absence, that the center absence, that the changing of from the 24 Lions to the 25 Lions, that now they're going to be mediocre, and that is overreacting. The Lions are going to be just fine. I really believe that the Packers defense is one of the best in the league. This is a home opener in Lambeau with Micah Parsons for the first game, and he made some good plays there, but he wasn't playing the full snaps. But you better believe that his presence there, the excitement for that defense, the amount of energy in that stadium with a great personnel against the division rival, that's your peak defense. And so everything went right for the Packers. You saw a lot of, the game script got away early from the Packers, 66% pass rate for the Lions. That happened just twice, all last year. But they were down, and they were down big, and they were down quick. And the Packers defense took away everything intermediate and deep. So Jared Goff just kept checking it down to the running backs, and he did it in situations where you don't want to do it. Like you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, who had double-digit targets, I think, from memory. I don't have it in front of me.
10 catches, yep.
And what do you have, like 30 receiving yards? You have I just assumed you had the numbers in front of you because you said 10 catches, but I guess you're just a man who has a great memory, and I'm going to keep talking until you pull it up in front of you, and then you tell me the number he had.
That's because he had 31.
31. Okay, so yeah. So that, I mean, you watched it. It was like, I got to take whatever this defense is giving me, and they're giving me very little, and he took very little, and it was really, really bad. Now, did Ben Johnson, his absence to overcome some of those changes, to make adjustments in game, have an impact? Absolutely. Did the offensive line being worse and a little bit quicker pressure with a great pass rush have an effect on Jared Goff? Yes. But they are not going to be bad. Amon-Ra was bad. Jameson Williams was bad. Jahmyr Gibbs was bad. And David Montgomery was bad for fantasy. I fully expect all four, including David Montgomery, to be good this season. What I saw from the timeshare split between Gibbs and David Montgomery very much made me a believer in David Montgomery this year, not necessarily as a superstar by any means, but there was fears in me, and I think fears in a lot of people, that this would become more and more and more of a not split backfield, and it would just be Jahmyr Gibbs with David Montgomery spelling him. And if any game was the game to do that, when you're down a ton and you're in a divisional matchup, that would be the game. And it didn't really happen. David Montgomery split with him the whole game, was involved in the passing game as well. I think the Lions are going to be fine. I would not overreact. I wouldn't sell pieces. I wouldn't be afraid. If you're going to react to anything, I would react that I think that the Packers defense is elite.
I definitely agree with you about the Packers. I did want to get a value check on a couple of those players because
all right.
So Montgomery is a player we brought up as, here's a veteran running back who at some point will be a sinking asset this year or next year. Mm-hmm. At some point. I think that you will find game scripts where he is the dude, like you said, and he's going to be just fine. You will find a time in the next couple of weeks where you want to make a proactive move about a player if he has. So is it more of, I'm holding on because he's a lottery ticket if Gibbs goes down? For contenders and rebuilders, it's like, oh, trade this dude away and get a first if Gibbs goes down. So is it just like wait and see? The game script's going to change. Is that your advice for Montgomery?
For Montgomery, I wouldn't. It depends on if you have him or not. If you have him, I'd wait. If you want to make a move to try to acquire him, this would be he had a very unimpressive, unimportant game. He's older. He's got 3 years left on his deal, but they could technically get out. The dead cap is like after this season. They could cut him. I don't see any reason they would. He doesn't cost them too much. I expect him to be around for several years. But if you wanted to throw out, a future second and see if you could get David Montgomery from someone who's like, hey, this might be the end of David Montgomery, I'd personally be happy to do that.
A second.
In fact, I might go do that in my league right now.
A second feels just fine right now. Betz, let me ask you about Jameson Williams, who got the extension this weekend. Do you view him as a top 20 Dynasty wide receiver? I'm going to give you some other names, but like, does he feel like that if he's on your roster, that he's a top 20 guy?
I mean, I think you want to zoom out from week one, obviously. Like, all offseason, there was so much hype, especially from the coaching staff. And that goes back to last year, right, with Jameson Williams, where it's like, this guy's a difference maker. We're going to get him the ball. All the stuff he wanted to hear after what was a very rough start to the career. Then they actually do reward him with that contract. And I think it tells you a lot about how they feel about him. So I think that top 20-ish range is fair. I think it's going to still be somewhat inconsistent until he does eventually reach that level of play that they think he can get to, because he's not there yet. Like, he's not commanding the offense yet, but they think he can, and they think he potentially will. I don't know. So I think that top 20-ish is fair evaluation, especially with that new deal that they just gave him before the start of the season.
I'll give you guys a couple of names. Would you rather have a Dunze or Jameson Williams in Dynasty?
I think I lean JMO.
Go first, Betz.
I lean JMO.
I've got Odunze higher in my rankings.
Devonta Smith or Jameson Williams?
Don't do this to me.
Do you care about
I've got Devonta
good thing?
Smith.
Okay, I do too.
Yeah, I think he's a more talented player, but it's frustrating at times when they don't need him.
All right, one more name here. Ricky Pearsall or Jameson Williams?
Ooh, good question. Projection v. projection.
Right.
I think I still lean JMO.
Somebody's speaking up right now. They're yelling at the podcast.
Yeah.
They're saying, I've seen it with Jameson Williams. I've seen it for a couple of games from Pearsall.
When you say you've seen it a couple of games from Pearsall, what you're saying is you haven't seen it as much.
Right. I've seen 3-4 good games in his career so far. It's more of a projection than it is Jameson Williams, who has a contract.
Okay.
I would take Jameson Williams there.
I'm going to take Pearsall.
A lot of confidence.
Pearsall. Okay. Yeah. You
Well, I'm
definitely.
looking for something. Here's what I wanted to see. Okay. This is shout out to 49ers Muse. Most receiving yards in their last 4 games. Because you said we've seen 3 or 4 games. Here are the most receiving yards in the last 4 games across the NFL. Number 1, Drake London,
Heck
407. Yeah. Number 2, Malik Neighbors, 374. Number 3, Ricky Pearsall, 370.
It's impressive.
Yeah, that's surprising. So, number 4, Ladd McConkey. I mean, it was like, that's crazy.
What about, so Isaac Tesla, I know Mike will want us to mention him. He ran 3 routes. One of those routes was really cool, though. It was a really cool route.
It was awesome. A garbage time touchdown, absolute putrid, stinky, nasty, dumpster diving garbage. However, he dove far for that garbage. He made an unbelievable one-handed catch where he got his second foot down. I mean, that it doesn't matter at all that it was garbage. That the impressive human feat of foot that he accomplished was incredible, and he showed out. Obviously, the thing that sucks about that is it took garbage time before he was really involved, and it shows that he's not going to be involved right now. The contract to Jameson Williams hurts him quite a bit. But I do think that there's room for a third wide receiver here. Most of the time, you see lots of teams that have 2 good wide receivers. Every now and then, you see a team that has 3 good wide receivers, and it comes on a high power offense. I think this one can be.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we got a couple more teams to talk about. I want to bring up the Colts because they steamrolled the Dolphins. They were up 20-0 at halftime. It was 30-0 until Achane scored in the fourth quarter. And Miami looks like a JV team, to be honest. Like, it felt terrible rewatching the game. But as you're rewatching the game, especially the first half where they got the lead, Daniel Jones was cooking, I want to look at the wide receiving core that also includes my boy Tyler Warren.
Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats.
Tyler Warren, I'm just going to say I'm just really, really happy for him. That, like, from day one, you could say, this is the dude. And I think my quick reaction, if I'm going to overreact, is saying, other than Powers and McBride, I don't want anybody else in Dynasty at tight end. Would you guys agree with me?
Bowers, McBride, absolutely. In Dynasty, Tyler Warren is 100% next up.
I think that's fair.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago, we kind of highlighted Dynasty startup tight ends, and we kind of went through the top 10. We're like, beyond this top 5 or 6, we're not really crazy about it. But one of the things we talked about is saying, like, Warren right away could be the dude. And it's very clear that he was. But the bigger question, I think, is, like, what do you do with Pity City? What do you do with Josh Downs? Because Josh Downs, I think, was a little disappointing. He didn't run the full amount of routes. And a 10% target share, there's a certain point where if you fall in love with a slot wide receiver, they
break your heart.
They have some really...
They break your heart.
They do break your heart. Trust me, I've loved Keenan forever. But there are times where you get low ADOT stuff that is not as important. So...
You did not... There is real difference between a slot wide receiver and a slot-only wide receiver.
Yep.
Keenan Allen was a slot wide receiver who primarily was in the slot. But if it was 2 wide receivers, he'd go outside. On 3 wide receivers, he'd come in. That's what we saw last year with Ladd McConkey. That's what we've seen with CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee's the perfect example.
Yeah, Amon-Ra, absolutely. Those are not players who aren't on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. Josh Downs is not on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. He is not the 2. He is not the 1. And that's just among wide receivers. Now he's behind Tyler Warren. For a long time this offseason, I know Mike was contemplating making Downs my guy. Andy loved it, and I tried to, I stuck to my Michael Pittman, which, look, it's only 1 week, but Pittman's I've never really understood. Pittman is the wide receiver 1 for this team. He might not be as good as Josh Downs, and I think that was the argument for Mike and for Andy was like, Downs is a better wide receiver. He very well might be. It's very similar to Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed is one of these slot wide receivers who's not on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. And so you look for fantasy purposes and you see these big games. Jayden Reed has awesome games. He had one this week. He had one to start last year. Last year, a month into the season, you thought Jayden Reed was going to be a top 5 wide receiver, and then he disappeared because you can't be consistent week in and week out at all when you don't have snaps. And so Jayden Reed Josh Downs to me is a guy, like, if there's a believer in your league and you drafted him, and I mean, I don't have him anywhere because I was taking Pittman a round or 2 later every league. I would be getting out personally.
Betz, what's your take on Downs?
I think he's a very good player. The addition of Tyler Warren is so bad for him. Like, you think about the areas of the field that those guys are going to win in most often, right? Tyler Warren over the middle of the field is going to dominate looks. Shorter, intermediate targets, he can stretch the seam, all those things, but like the high percentage looks, and it's not just like, they run a route and he just gets open. Like, they are designing plays specifically for Tyler Warren. And yes, it's a small sample size, but even in the preseason, in like a very limited, drive or 2, like the plan was get the ball in Tyler Warren's hands. The draft capital says that. The talent says that. We just saw it in week 1. I think it's going to continue. So you really probably only can play Josh Downs in like game scripts where you can project the Colts to be trailing and having to throw a lot, because that's the other thing. No matter which quarterback is under center for them, they have a mobile quarterback. They also have Jonathan Taylor, who's going to get 18 plus touches a game. And eventually you just run out of opportunities. So yeah, he is talented. He's good. I agree with Jason, though. This is definitely a concern for his usage moving forward if he's going to stay in the slot all season.
Daniel Jones was pressured on just 5 attempts. So it's really hard to figure out what does he do under duress. I mean, his ADOT when he was pressured was 2.8, so that is the Josh Downs zone of where he usually worked. But at the end of the day, it's really hard to project him as a difference maker, even in full PPR. It's like, you're not going to get the volume. You need him to be, 10, 8, 9, 10 targets. And I just can't see that happening with Warren on the field, with Pittman. It was nice to see, though, the Colts. Like, Shane Steichen is somebody that we really liked from his Eagles days and his Chargers days. And he was a coach on the hot seat. We talked about him and McDaniel. So it was nice to see them get off to a great start. It was nice to see Daniel Jones have a good game. But they play Denver this week. So I think the game plan will shift. We could be talking next week and say, man, Josh Downs got 8 targets because Daniel Jones was, under pressure and he just dumped it off a bunch. So don't just take this as Josh Downs is not going to be at all involved. It's just that any ceiling outcome you thought in year 3 for Downs,
Tyler Warren just ate it. Tyler Warren just ate it. And I think
he's a dog.
Betz
He ate it.
is, oh man, you left it on the counter and you walked away. Oh,
Mistake.
nom. Tyler Warren's going to get that. He's counter surfing. I love Betz's bringing up the area of the field. I've talked about this a lot with the Kansas City Chiefs and what we saw last year with Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. It was like when it's the same kind of targets, when it's that short, intermediate, like middle of the field stuff that is also the first read. It's like, I'm going to drop back, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to drop back, I'm going to hit it. You don't get to go to the second read, and it's like, well, so who's number 1 in that? It was Rashee Rice last year, and it came at the catastrophic detriment to Travis Kelce. And then we saw it completely flip after 3 weeks when Rice went out. All of a sudden, Kelce got involved again. And I think it's happening in reverse here, where the tight end is just so much better. Like, Tyler Warren's better than Josh Downs. That's why he was a top 10 draft pick. Going back to Pittman real quick, I just want to read you a couple numbers. These are the games that Anthony Richardson didn't play in last year for Michael Pittman, because I don't think we remember. Like, we look at last year and Michael Pittman sucked, and he did. But in the games without Anthony Richardson, he was the wide receiver 23 with 12.2 points. He was the wide receiver 28 with 11 points. This is half PPR, so that's a great number. In week 9, he was a wide receiver 85, 1.9, but he got hurt that week. He missed week 10, which was another game without him. Then he was the wide receiver 9 with 21.4 points, and he was the wide receiver 35 with 10.2 points. In non-injured full games without Anthony Richardson, he never had fewer than double-digit points. Like, Pittman is the one here.
Could he finish as a top 20 receiver this year?
I think, yes, I definitely do.
Yeah, I think it's possible for sure. I think you need Daniel Jones to stay in there for most of the season to have that outcome happen, but I think it's possible.
I mean, last year, those numbers I just gave you were easily top 20 wide receiver numbers if you played the season without Anthony Richardson. The year prior, he was the wide receiver 15. The year prior, he was the wide receiver 23. The year prior, he was the wide receiver 15. Like, this is a good guy who's paid to be the one for his team, who's always been good, except when he had Anthony Richardson.
And no touchdown. Like, I think of the players that I've always loved in my heart the most. Pity City's always been near and dear to me. Keenan Allen, it's like his touchdowns, Pity City for his career. 1, 6, 4, 4, 3. He's already got 1 so far. But it's like, if we can get to 6 or 7, he can get on that, top 20 mark. It's just like, what is this offense going to be beyond the Dolphins? Betz, what is another team real quick that we want to hit?
Yeah, I think it's important to look at the usage for the Washington Commanders in the pass game, specifically when it comes to Deebo Samuel and how it might affect Terry McLaurin. Obviously, Terry coming off an incredible season a year ago, a lot of that was touchdown-based, and with the addition of Deebo, my question is just like, is there going to be enough volume to go around for both guys on a week-in and week-out basis? In week 1, Deebo's usage, when you look at kind of where he was running routes, and it wasn't just screen stuff, like he was running a lot of the quick hitters, intermediate areas of the field stuff, down the field as well, like a very diverse route tree. And then, of course, he gets the end around the jet sweep for a touchdown, but 10 targets, 7 catches, 77 yards. Terry had 4 targets with an average depth of target of 18.5 yards. So basically, in week 1, it was like, is he going to catch this long pass for touchdown or not? And if he does, he'll be happy. And if not, you're going to be very disappointed. I wasn't really, like, going into the season, I was definitely concerned about the touchdown rate coming down for Terry McLaurin, as we talked about all offseason. I didn't think Deebo would affect him this much from a target share standpoint. It's only 1 game, but I think he's a perfect fit for Cliff's scheme. And I think Terry is, just kind of out there on an island. So I don't know if that'll stick moving forward, but I think the Deebo usage might be here to stay.
Andy brought that up on the main show a lot of like, if there's one player that Cliff brought over that fits his system of behind the line of scrimmage stuff, Deebo is that dude, and you kind of got to see him right away. I mean, there will be some games where Deebo just vanishes, and you're like, what? I mean, that happened with 49ers. But
Yeah.
At the end of the day, are you making any transactions on those older wide receivers?
Well, if you have Deebo and you're not top 4, top 5 in your league, I mean, this is a great opportunity to get out with the contract uncertainty. And obviously, he's a little bit older. Like, this is a great, I don't even want to call it sell high, but just capitalize in your league on a trade market that might exist for Deebo that if he wears down as the course of the year or whatever, like he might not have that value later on. So I do think this is a good time if you're not a contender to see what you can get for Deebo.
Okay. Jason, who you got for us?
So I got a 2-pack. One I'm going to hit really, really quick. I would not overreact to Aaron Rodgers' 4 touchdown, 0 interception game. It was against a good defense. It was an awesome showing. That's not going to happen. He didn't play that good. Like, it's unbelievable. I watch it. He did not play great. He was not incredibly accurate. He had 4 great passes, and hopefully it keeps going, but I will be surprised. A lot of the behind-the-scenes metrics weren't that good, but for dynasty purposes, Aaron Rodgers is pretty irrelevant anyways. For dynasty purposes, the player that I want to make sure you don't underreact to, and I almost brought him up in the film study because I went and I rewatched every single snap of his. It's Harold Fannin Jr.,
Ooh.
tight end for the
Love it.
Cleveland Browns, rookie tight end for the Cleveland Browns, historic producing collegiate tight end. He had 117 receptions, 1,500 yards, but he played for Bowling Green, and you're like, okay, well, he's beating up on scrubs. You know, he was not talked about despite that production with the Colson Lovelands and the Tyler Warrens. Now, pre-NFL draft, he was talked about like that from me on this show. We talked about like, are you in or out? You just kind of we talked about how funny he runs and like it never seems like it should work.
You called him like a
works.
boxer, like he would go out there and kind of punch people.
It was just so weird, man. It looks like he was never good enough, but he always produced. He was always in the right spot. He always broke a tackle, and then it's like, yeah, but that can't translate from Bowling Green to the NFL. Well, guess what? Week 1 as a rookie at the tight end position, he had 55 snaps. Are you kidding me? He had 29 inline snaps, 16 out in the slot, 6 out wide. He led the team in targets. Now, I don't necessarily think this is just, he's going to be a sensational breakout. You still got to compete with David Njoku. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman look good. There's a lot going on here, and I would not overreact and spend up and go acquire him at extreme prices because it will get worse. Oh my gosh, their schedule. I forgot just how bad it was. But literally, I think when I go and I say who are the best defenses in the league, the defenses that come to mind for me, the Packers and the Vikings. I think of the Ravens. I think the Lions.
Broncos.
The Broncos for sure. Who else? Who else are the best defenses in the league? Did I run through them? I don't know.
Say the Packers?
I said the Packers. Yeah, the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, all in the same division, which is crazy. The Broncos for sure.
The 85 Bears.
Sure.
The Texans.
Okay, here's their schedule. The next the Texans need to be up there. And honestly, I think the Rams are pretty close.
Yeah.
Their next 4 weeks are the Baltimore Ravens, check. The Green Bay Packers, check. The Detroit Lions, check. The Minnesota Vikings, check. So, that sucks. So it's not going to be easy sledding here for the Browns or for Harold Fannin, but the utilization was great. And what the film showed was he can hang. He ran routes that looked not like he's in this kind of like fullback. He's wearing number 44, which is weird. The way they use him shocked me. Like, I did not see this. He's mostly in line, like on the right or the left, just and oftentimes they'd have a tight end on both sides. It looks like there's like 7 offensive linemen, but then they just run him out. They just leak him. And so I think they caught the Bengals a little bit by surprise in week 1 with a lot of those type of routes. Defenses will adjust. But my point is, when you got someone that was that productive and you got a big question mark on their profile, like, are they going to be able to do this or not? And in week 1, they're on the field all the dang time, and they lead the team in targets. Like that is pay attention, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg because it's Harold Fannin. Like in a lot of people's 3-round rookie drafts, went undrafted. So pay attention to Harold Fannin Jr. I think as time goes forward, he will emerge.
I took him at the 306 in our Dino Jr., and I felt like an idiot because I went back and forth between him and Mason Taylor, who I did not love the take. Exactly. Definitely did not have it at all.
Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats.
And so
we gotta get that on Mike's board. He doesn't know about this drop. We've got to show him.
After this show, Jason, you need to go watch the full press conference and go, how did this coach land here at his press conference? Because it's 2 minutes long of him going on this metaphor.
Man.
But anyway, Harold Fannin, it's like he is I don't know fully what he is, and that's exciting in Dynasty. It's exciting at tight end, right? Where you have players like Tyler Warren's like, you get carries? Like that's not normal. That's like somebody saying you get to get the best of like Jonnu and somebody else too. Can I just mention the Chargers because
please do.
Real quick.
Actually, I know we're over and whatever. I don't care. You can't be quick here. You can't be. I know you probably got to pick up kids, whatever. But like I've been waiting all day.
I'm here for the Chargers.
I have been waiting all day. I alluded to it on yesterday's Footballers, knowing that you were going to bring this up, and I didn't know I still don't know what your conclusion is, and I'm so excited for this.
I'll tell you this, the Chargers have never and will never let you down. Years and years of practice with this team.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Chargers pass rate, if you didn't watch the game, it was great to see the Chargers not charger it at the very end. The Falcons falcon at the end, but the Chargers didn't charger at the end. They were third it was awesome. Third in neutral pass rate, number 1 in next gen stats passing efficiency. Herbert looked awesome, by the way. I just want to say it's here to stay, Jason.
Yes. I'm so excited because I saw this. I was like, oh, he's going to come in and say like, look, this was a game plan against the Chiefs. It was to surprise him because they were such a run-heavy team, and they were expecting the run, and Harbaugh's next-level thinking, and it's like, I'm going to keep dropping back to pass. You keep thinking, let's double down against the run, and it's not going to come. And obviously, you don't know the future, but I'm so happy to hear that that's where you landed, because that is where I landed. This is who they are. It's here to stay.
I love it.
Greg Roman, what he did with Kaepernick and everything else 10 years ago, I'm not using that with this offense now. Like, he can grow, G-Row can grow, and this team can be different.
Grow. I mean, G-Row is
man.
grow.
Guys, what if I told you in the intermediate area of the field? I mean, I'm getting hot and bothered right now. 155 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and oh baby, a perfect passer rating in the intermediate area of the field. Justin Herbert, he also had those scramble attempts that at the end of the game, he iced the game. It was awesome. And their schedule, Jason. Have you seen their schedule?
Tell me more.
They are favored in every single game for the next 10 weeks.
Oh,
baby.
What are Justin Herbert's odds for MVP?
You guys are about to bet some money. You're about to
I'm going to put
money.
an MVP winner down right now.
For fantasy, I know to put a bow on this, I'm equally as excited as you guys. I love the take because, man, like Harbaugh, I don't even think my family loves me as much as like he loves Justin Herbert. Like they are obsessed with Justin Herbert and they know what they have in him and they are building the offense around him. Remember in the first 4 weeks last year, it was like, okay, this is what they do. But after the bye week, it was Herbert's team, and now we have another game in that data set to say this is who they want to be. You follow their moves. They draft McCarthy. They obviously bring back Keenan Allen. I think this is who they are, man. So yeah, I think Herbert's about to go off.
I'm very biased about this man, Jason. Just so you know, I am very biased about Justin Herbert.
Know thyself.
Yes,
I am too, though. I am so in. So tomorrow on, which will be today when this episode releases on the Footballers. One of the topics is like, what prior did we come into the season with that we think we got right after 1 week, and which one are we worried about after 1 week? And the one I wanted to go with was Justin Herbert, because the later in the season, like the UDK final rankings, Justin Herbert was my quarterback 7. I had him very, very high, way higher than consensus. And I think he is just an outstanding quarterback, one of the best in the league. And he now has the team around him to go win ball games, which he hasn't been able to in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and all of that. And his team is awesome. I got a lot of guff earlier in the offseason because I said that they are a real contender. Like, they're a contender over, like, with the Chiefs. And it was like, no, I think they really are. So I'm gonna go say, I'm gonna make a little award bet. Let's say Justin Herbert, regular season MVP.
Investment, Jason.
An investment. Thank you.
It's a great investment. I'm not changing anything about Ladd. About like, okay, well, Keenan's there and Keenan got the touchdown, and like, they're both can be good. And also, we just need to recognize that Huge last year was targeted on 24% of his routes. It was the 7th best of any second-year wide receiver that was drafted in the first round over the last decade. Huge is not just some random dude, and you kind of saw that they had an underneath play. I rewatched the film because, of course, where it's like, this dude was really good in college after the catch. Like, that was what his calling card. Yeah. If he's that guy on this team, like, he's not going to be the first down chain mover the way that Ladd and Keenan are. The only question I have left is, what do we do with Trey Harris? I'm not doing anything with Marion Hampton. He's great. You'll be fine. But Trey Harris.
You want to know what Trey Harris means to me? So, yes, for Trey Harris, yes. The Chargers depth chart is a thing of beauty to me, because it, you've got Tyler Conklin here now with Will Dissly. You have Lambert Smith and Trey Harris, 2 rookies who both in their own right looked like they were complete hits. And they're not on the field because there's Ladd and Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. So Trey Harris is going to take some time. Keenan's not here forever. Keenan's is a 1-year deal, right? Like, he'll probably be gone next year.
But he'll live forever.
He'll live forever, or he'll be overtaken. Trey Harris is an injury away from being a really relevant weekly starter in fantasy, and he is a year away without that.
Yes. Good teams develop depth at these positions. The way that they're doing, the way the Eagles have done it, like, it just like multiple of the skill position groups at wide receiver and running back, the Eagles do this. The Falcons don't do this. The depth chart is terrible. So I look at the squad and I look at Trey Harris and go, he's set up for more than just this year. Don't just take him that way. Dude,
if Rashawn Slater didn't get injured, because this offensive line looks awesome. Joe Alt's unbelievable as, a left tackle, even though he was playing right. If they had Rashawn Slater, like, I don't know how you stop this offense, because their wide receiver core is perfect for Keenan, for Justin Herbert. You got the deep ball, you got the perfect routes, and then you've got Omarion Hampton and Najee. How do you stop this offense when they're clicking? I love this team, man.
There's no way they hurt us. There's no way.
No way. Put your heart on the Chargers. You'll never be let down. Oh, man, as a Cardinals fan, I feel that.
They're 3.5-point road favorites, by the way, on Monday Night Football. That just 3.5 does not sound nice.
See, here's the thing. I brought up Herbert as my stream of the week. Herbert is going to be my start of the week this week. So that's why I couldn't do him on the main show as my player I got right. We're talking about him too much. And I don't want to jinx him, but goodness gracious. I love Harbaugh. Man, and this team is just such a team of losers and
Chargers.
Fans of losers. Yeah, this is definitely the team I'm rooting for outside of the Cardinals. Like, I want something good for them for once.
Well, this is the year.
I'm in with you.
This is the year.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you check out all of our channels, ballersdiscord.com. We have Dynasty Trade Advice, Dynasty Superflex. It's all there. And check out the Ultimate Dashboard, jointhefoot.com. Whoops. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. If you want to take your dynasty skills to the next level, check out thefantasyfootballers.com.